Oh, fuck yeah, it works.
Check, 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 check. All right, open mic at the fucking Manhattan. What's up? Woo! Yeah, tell some fucking jokes and shit. All right, so this guy's laying next to his wife in bed, and he's reading a book, and she just feels his hand like lightly brush her pussy, and then about 2 minutes later, she feels it again, and she's like, "Well, do you want sex or what?" He's like, "No, I'm just wetting my fingers, turning the pages." Yeah. So my buddy, he just went through a divorce, and his wife sends him a text that she wants like one of the vacuums, right? And he's like, "Well, we got two vacuums, the robot one and the regular one, but you're a fucking lazy piece of shit, so I'm sure you're talking about the robot one." And she's like, "I don't care, just one of them." So he's like, "All right, I'll tell you what, I'll cut both vacuums in half with the chop saw and drop off half of each vacuum at your house."
Classic.
Yeah, so I'm watching the Super Bowl halftime show, or we're watching the Super Bowl, and I got some friends over, kind of an older crowd, but Bad Bunny's halftime show comes on, and my 60-year-old friend Chris goes, "What's this a commercial for?" We watched the whole halftime show, and at the end I was like, "The best I can tell, Puerto Rican electricity." So I used to, it was like a magic trick when I figured it out, but it magic trick to me. But I used to fly a lot, well I still fly a lot, but I used to drink and fly a lot. But airplane drinks are really expensive since I can't ever afford to fly first class. So at some point, I realized that like airplane shooter bottles were less than 3 ounces each. So you can put as many as will fit in a quart Ziploc bag and bring them in your carry-on. I mean, since COVID, everybody kind of knows this, but it was very novel to me the first time I did it. We were flying to Scotland, and I didn't know that they served free drinks on international flights. So I'm all ready, and I'm going through TSA, and the lady like sees my bag of shooters just sitting there, and she goes, "Oh, honey, I'm gonna have to confiscate those from you." And I'm like, "Ah!" And we laughed together because I knew it was a joke. And so I'm drinking shooters at the airport and like vaping, because I literally, this was when DIA used to have the smoking lounge. I don't know if anybody remembers that. But it was awesome. It was the best airport bar in the world. The only airport bar where I've ever been asked if I wanted to make a drink a double tall for just $2 more. I asked about that shit in Salt Lake City once. I was like getting a shot in a beer. I'm like, "You don't have any deal where you can make it a double tall for just $1 more or whatever, do they?" And they're like, "This is the airport, you asshole. Of course we don't." But anyway, I went in the smoking lounge, right? And I got a dog now. Charlie! Woo! Give it up to Charlie. So I go in the smoking lounge, and I'm like, "I just want to like smoke my vape in here. Could I just get a cup of coffee? Because I'm already like 4 shooters deep." And they proceed to tell me like, "Why do you need to come in here? You can vape anywhere you want in the airport." That's since changed too, but those were the golden age. I just remember getting on this flight to Scotland, and I literally like I had one Xanax in my Kindle case, because this was long enough ago that like I actually rolled with a tablet somewhere, and so the Kindle case had like one Xanax in it and my passport. And so I get on the plane, and like the lady behind me was having trouble with her bag in the overhead. I've like never been on a giant international flight before, so I go to help her, and I guess anyway I sit down and I'm looking at the seat in front of me. It's got the TV on it, and it's got a charging port. I'm like, "Oh great, I can charge my Kindle while I'm sitting here." And then I realized I don't know where the fuck my Kindle was. Incidentally, also, when I was getting on the plane, I picked up a newspaper because I was gonna, draw dicks on it. That's what I do with newspapers. I don't read them. I draw dicks on them. But I picked the thickest one in the newspaper stand as I was getting on the plane. And I walk onto the plane, and this flight attendant looks straight at me without even flinching and starts speaking German, because we're flying Lufthansa to Frankfurt. And I look at her and I go, English? And she goes, oh, well, you have a German newspaper. And I was just like, well, that's going to make it fucking hard to read. So the point of this is, I think maybe I set my Kindle down on the newspaper stand or some shit, because, again, I'm fairly fucked up from drinking shooters at the airport. And so I do the salmon against traffic on this international plane, like 75 rows back up to the front of the plane, and I'm like, I think I might have left my passport on the newspaper stand in the jetway. And like the first officer on the plane is like, never do that, ever. And so they went and looked, and they're like, there's nothing there. So I have to go back through the plane, and everybody's putting their carry-ons in the overhead and shit, so it took a really long time. And when I can see my wife from like 30 rows up, she's just holding the Kindle case up like this. Evidently, I had put it on the lady's seat when I went to help her with her bag into the overhead. So like 35 seconds after I left to go to the front of the plane, which took me 10 minutes, they had the thing that had my passport, and I was super worried about it. So we booked our tickets online, but none of us had enough money to pay for all 3 tickets. It was our me, my wife, and our friend Janice. And so the best we could do for seats was 3 middle seats, 3 rows in a row. So I'm sitting in the middle of 2 strangers, and so I go to the bathroom and I eat the Xanax, and they come by and they start around a beverage service, and so I have like a beer and a glass of wine and a glass of scotch, and I'm like just drooling on myself on this fucking plane, and there's this Asian fellow sitting in the aisle seat next to me, and every time I like flinch, he's like, oh, you need to go to the bathroom, and I did, so that was excellent, and I was like smoking my vape in the bathroom, and we landed in Frankfurt. But anyway, I made that kind of like a tradition over time of always flying with a bag of shooters. I feel like I'm getting played off at the Oscars. I'd just like to thank my manager. I'd like to thank my mom and dad. I'd like to thank the fine people at TSA. Be kind to each other. Oh, it's Adele. That's fucking excellent. So where was I with that? I must have gone 1,000 times. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. But so I'm always traveling with a bag of shooters for a long time. But that was like the only time I didn't need them at all. Like I literally had like 5 shooters when I landed in Frankfurt still. I guess the point of the story was really more losing my passport, but not actually losing it. I slept so well that I ended up not drawing any dicks on the paper either. So let's see. So there's a married couple that's been together for like 20 years, and so for their anniversary, she goes to the exotic pet store to try and like get him something special because she's running out of ideas. And they have like dogs that fetch and monkeys that screw, monkeys that sign, sorry. But they all cost like, $1,000. So, they go, oh, well, how much money do you have? And she says, well, I got like $100. And they're like, oh, cool, we got something. And they bring it out, and, she's like a bullfrog. I don't know if that's necessarily, he's gonna like it. And they're like, oh, well, this bullfrog performs fellatio. And she's like, well, all right then, he loves it, I hate doing it, wrap it up. And so they're at dinner, and she presents this gift to him, and he goes, oh, great, a bullfrog, thanks, honey. And she goes, no, honey, this bullfrog gives blowjobs. So, they finish dinner, and she's going to bed upstairs, and he's downstairs trying out his new amphibian friend, and she just hears water running. So she looks in the upstairs bathroom and there's nothing. And then she looks in the downstairs bathroom and there's also nothing. And then she finds him in the kitchen, and he's got the bullfrog in one hand, his pants around his ankles, a sink full of dirty dishes and soap, and then a fifth of Jack Daniels in his left hand. And she's like, no, honey, this bullfrog gives blowjobs, not does dishes. And he's like, yeah, but if I can teach it to, we're getting a divorce. Woo! So I used to refer to myself when I first moved back to Fort Collins. I didn't have a car, as I previously mentioned, as part of my Alive at 25 program. I just got so many underage drinking tickets that I lost my license consecutively for a year, for like 4 consecutive years, but I had to get my license back so they could suspend it again so I could get it back. And each time you have to take your driver's test. It's a real process. It was like a to-do, but like I went through it every time. Anyway, so I moved back to Fort Collins after my first year in Vail when I got fired, and I end up having a bike, but I leave it somewhere and someone steals it, which is definitely poetic justice for me. So I end up riding my skateboard everywhere for transportation. So it was the year I turned 21, so I was drinking a lot at bars, and so I used to refer to myself, because I weighed like 120 pounds, and so between me and my skateboard, I weighed 130 pounds, so I called myself the 130-pound mobile drinking force. So I'd be like, I'd get up from the table and be like, I'll see you guys in a minute, the force has got to go take a leak. But yeah, I skateboarded everywhere for transportation, and so like I skateboarded to work, and so I'd leave my house at 7 in the morning to make it to work at or 7:30 to make it to work at 8 to open the burrito shop. And like what I'd pack with me is like 2 Newcastles, and I'd open one on my way out the door and stick one in my back pocket. So like it'd be Monday morning and everybody would be driving into work to like go to their real jobs, and I'd be like skateboarding to the burrito shop, just like pushing as fast as I can, like ripping manuals and chugging beer at the same time. So just like kind of like one of these, like, yeah. Anyway, the Force had a great time that summer. One of my biggest achievements was crossing a railroad track, holding a 30-pack of beer without getting my skateboard truck stuck in it. So I was pretty proud of myself there. I didn't, when I worked at the burrito shop, I didn't go to CSU because like I'm not very scholarly, but I did get drunk with a shitload of CSU kids that worked there. So that was like my college experience. On the 4th of July that summer, my buddy Aaron Schoonamaker, who just, we call him Scooty and he called me Ham because that's my last name. But he calls me and he's like, hey Ham, we're starting at noon and we're doing power hours. And so I went over there, and if you're not familiar with the power hour, that's when you drink a shot of beer every minute, and they change, like they had CDs made so they would change. And it turns out to be a 6-pack in an hour, which like, I guess doesn't really sound like a ton of beer to me right now, but like at the time, like it got me fucking drunk. So we did 3 back-to-back, and I came home at like 3:15, the Force on my skateboard, just in time to find my friends having a barbecue with their friends from out of town. My roommates having their friends from out of town at a barbecue, which I guess they were like super disturbed as I just like passed out face down in the backyard in the grass and slept till it got dark out. Anyway, yeah, pretty good summer overall. The Force had a really good time. But on Halloween, like my favorite thing about college towns is like all the parties you get to go to, like house parties, old school stuff. And it doesn't, like, Halloween can be like on a Saturday, which means like you get to party Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I forget the configuration of how it was, but I think it was on a Monday. So there was like Halloween parties all weekend, and then it was Halloween on Monday. But anyway, I was Hunter Thompson, and like I wear prescription glasses, as you could tell here. But I decided I brought glasses and I brought real skate shoes to go to this party. But like my Hunter Thompson costume, I got these red leather Bally's with like a 1-inch heel at the fucking thrift store. And so when I left the Halloween party, I was a lot more well served than when I arrived. So I decided I could just like skateboard home, which was like 3 miles. I don't know how many blocks that is, but like 47 fucking blocks. In costume. So I'm wearing aviators instead of my prescription glasses at night, and I'm skating wearing these Bally's with the hard sole. And at one point I was just like skating down Shields in Fort Collins, and like I go to kick really big and I just lose my balance and fall over backwards, and I'm just like laying in the bike lane like laughing and crying at the same time, and people are driving by honking at me and shit. And I had these coral colored like ladies slacks I got at the thrift store as part of my Halloween costume. And I went home and passed out on the couch, and I woke up in the morning and like the raspberry I had on my hip that was the size of a grapefruit had like glued the ladies' pants to like, my skin with the big raspberry. And so I was just like contemplating what to do about it. I ended up just getting in the shower and like dissolving it. And like, since the pants had never been washed before, like they just like, ran pink all over the shower. But anyway, I got myself unglued and went on with my life, and we moved to Steamboat, and that's another story. But yeah, the 130-pound mobile drinking force, shit, now I'd be like, fuck, I only longboard, so I'd be like the 175-pound mobile drinking force. But yeah, I don't drink anymore, so that'd be tough too. Anyway, that's that one. The next bit is, every pizza is a personal pizza if you try hard enough. Just remember that. Right on the heels of bitching about getting my bike stolen and skateboarding everywhere. Now we'll actually come back to stealing bikes. This next bit is about robot vacuums. So when I got married 10 years ago, we made this like, what do you call it? A registry. And it was at Bed Bath & Beyond. And the people at the real estate office I worked at were like, Mike, I mean, we saw everything on your list, but like, just tell us what you want. And I'm like, well, I think it's pretty obvious, but if you guys really love me, you'll get me the Roomba. And so, they obviously weren't paying attention because, they got me the robot mop, and my house is all carpeted. So I had to take it and then get the Roomba. And like, Carmen, the realtor, was nice enough to realize that they fucked up. So she's like, hey, just tell me how much more the vacuum is than the mop, and I'll give you the difference. And I think I was like too proud to ever worry about that shit, so I just got it. But anyway, the first one we had, I nicknamed Alfred, and like the butler, yeah. And so Alfred was pretty solid. We had him for like a couple years, maybe like 16 months or something like that. I'm talking about it like it's a child. Yeah, I think my robot vacuum is 16 months old. But anyway, the point is, Bed Bath & Beyond's warranty got stingier and stingier. But this was when it was still like the fucking best, right? So I literally it stops working at some point. Because like robot vacuums, not only are they pretty fucking retarded, like you could vacuum their whole house in 10 minutes, way better than it, but it's also counterproductive. Because like I can't multitask while it's cleaning because I'm just watching it like, oh, how are you gonna get out of that one, Alfred? Holy shit. It's fucking mesmerizing. But so Alfred starts waning in health, and I'm like, well, I better take this motherfucker, because it was $400, and I certainly didn't have $400 for another vacuum. So like, we got to get this exchange process started. And so I roll in to Bed Bath & Beyond, and I see this lady at customer service, and I'm like, I have it all boxed back up in the original box, and I'm holding it like it's like a fucking pizza or whatever. And she goes, how can I help you? And I'm like, open the box, and I show her, I'm like, this is Alfred, and he's sick. He's been a great robot vacuum, but I don't think he's gonna make it, so I need to exchange him for a new one. And like, they were like, yeah, no problem. Like, you have a receipt? Sure thing. Like, they pick one. It's like, actually, we're out of the same model, so you get one that's slightly nicer. And then, so I go home, and I unbox it, and I'm like, what do we call this one, honey? And she's like, how about Rosie? And I'm like, yeah, sweet. Like, the maid on the Jetsons. And like, Rosie was pretty good for a while, too. But I sent her under the bed one time, like on a safari, I'm just like, go forth under the bed and get the dust bunnies. Well, there was like a fucking Mardi Gras beads under there, and she ate it, and it wasn't good for her health. And so like there I am back at Bed Bath and Beyond. This time it's been like 11 months, and I'm like, same girl at customer service. She's like, how can I help you? Hold the box, you know. I'm like, this is Rosie, and she was really good. She's a hard worker, but she ate this Mardi Gras beads necklace under our bed, and she hasn't been the same since. So unfortunately, I'm gonna have to exchange her. And so, you know, they're like, you have the receipt, I have the receipt, and like, you know, we swap it. Let me see, I can't even remember what I named the next one. But like the next time I came back, like the Russian lady that works at Bed Bath and Beyond, like fucking saw me, and I never go there except when I'm exchanging my robot vacuum. So she's like, that asshole vacuum is back, you know. And so I forget what I named that one, but you know, same thing. It's sick, and they're like, all right, well, just so you know, our return policy has changed, and so now you can only return it within a year. So I get this one, and it's not even like, because they get a little smarter each time. I will give the evolution of the Roomba. I think this one might have been a Shark, but like they got slightly better or like less shitty. But I knew that I had to return it within a year. So like I'm just like trying to make some shit up this time. I'm like, well, this is so and so, and it's going to be a year tomorrow, so I just need a new one at this point. And they're like, we're like, we'll do it. And they're like looking back, and like she's like, you tell him. And they're like, we'll do it, but this may be your last one. And I think I ended up getting one more after that or whatever. So like 5 different fucking robot vacuums total. But when it stopped working, this one, it stopped holding a charge, or like you'd put it on the charging port and it would like just pull back and go on and pull back. It was doing something funny. And so I knew there was no possibility of an exchange after 5 exchanges and being outside the return window. So I just put it in the back of my my whip, and I was gonna exchange it when I got when I got back. Not exchange it, I was gonna throw it away at work when I got around to it, but it just ended up riding in the trunk of my Beamer forever. And so we get down to Denver, and we're staying at an airport hotel to like fly out of town somewhere. And I'm getting the suitcase out to go in the hotel, and I'm just like, well, wouldn't it be funny if we just plugged this motherfucker in, like in the hotel room, and just left it like we forgot our robot vacuum behind? I'm like, that's a pretty good gag. And literally it's like 2 a.m, and I'm getting up to take a piss, and I trip over it. And when I do, it whatever it was choking on or like had lodged in it, when I kicked it, it dislodged, and it, no joke, just started vacuuming the hotel room. And then I had kind of like a quandary on my hands, like really a paradox, if you will, right? Because I'd already written it off as not working, and I just have been vacuuming my house with a real vacuum. And also, I was really committed to the joke of leaving it in the hotel room. So I'm like, do I just fucking take this thing and just like leave it on the charger, and before we go to check out, just start it so it'll vacuum the hotel room? So like when the housekeepers open the door, they're just like, well, fuck, that's one less thing for us to do. Also, you know, like I've had a few people leave handguns behind in condos that I manage. And like, I feel like the robot vacuum is kind of the same thing. It's just like, how are you so OCD that you had to bring your own fucking robot vacuum to your hotel room, but so forgetful that you didn't take it with you when you left? I did take it with me because I think my wife convinced me that like it works again, we should keep it or whatever. But what I did do is I sent it down the 2nd floor hallway and just watched it go for like 100 fucking yards, because it like doesn't turn until it hits something. I'm just like, be free, robot vacuum, roam in your natural habitat. And it was just fucking sitting, it was gorgeous. But that was the same one that I actually I brought it back home, and it like shoehorned itself under the buffet in my kitchen, or adjacent to my kitchen, and it just lived there from like when that joke occurred, which was like when I didn't even have the same job as I do now. So like it lived there for like 6 years, just like all dusty under the shit, not plugged in. And then the other day, to remind myself to throw it out with the garbage, I took it out and just put it on the snowbank by where I put the garbage can. And like people would walk by and fucking look at it and shit. And so one day I was outside and the mailman walked up and looked at it, and I was just like looked at the vacuum and looked at him. I'm like, how'd you get all the way out here? Anyway, yeah, that was fucking robot vacuums. But I did eventually, like literally this most recent Monday, put it out for the fucking trash, and the trash man took it. But it was a good run. Like I said, they're not smart, but they are kind of neat. All right, let's see here. All right, the next one is actually not mine. It's a friend of mine, and I just heard it recently, and it's fucking terrific. So my friend Hannah lives in Montana. That's the whole joke. No, I'm just fucking kidding. But Hannah lives in Montana, and so she recently had to get she had to get a new used car, right? Like new to her used car. And so she like got this Grand Cherokee from a little indie dealership. She lives in Belgrade. If you know where that is, good for you. That's sharp Montana geography. It's kind of in the greater Bozeman area for reference. But anyway, she buys this car. She's like, I got a Grand Cherokee because, I was just looking for something that was good in the snow and kind of blended in, nothing special or whatever. And she proceeds to go on like 2 separate road trips to Wisconsin. But she takes this road trip to Wisconsin and brings her parents like 6 ounces of weed because they still don't have like legal weed there. And they send her home with, her stepdad sends her home with 2 handguns to drive back to Montana with. And like literally one of these handguns was still in the fucking evidence bag because like the reason he had them and didn't want them anymore was like 5 years ago. He got a fucking DUI in Indiana and they took them away from him. So he like finally got around to going to Indiana and like recollecting his possessions after he was off probation and like allowed to own a gun again. And so like, yeah, she's driving across the country, like, well, not across the country, but from Wisconsin to Montana. Like, no more weed in the car, but, 2 handguns, one still in an evidence bag. And she gets home and she's unpacking the car. And she's like, taking everything out and she's vacuuming it at the car wash and just like having the worst time because the car battery in the new Grand Cherokees is like under the passenger seat, which she says is a retarded place to put it because literally if the car's dead, how do you move the power seat to get to the battery to jump it? At any rate, she's trying to finagle the vacuum in behind the seat by the car battery, and she like runs it into this object, and she pulls it out, and it's like this plastic pillow, but like the vacuum still won't take her credit card or whatever. And then she talks to her boyfriend who's like, just bring it home, we can use the shop vac. And she's like, yeah, after throwing a fucking adult tantrum at the car wash, now you tell me we could just use the shop vac? So she goes home and she's like, is this your plastic pillow? Like, what the fuck is this shit? And he's like, I don't know what the fuck this shit is either. So they proceed to cut this plastic pillow open, and there's just like a vacuum seal bag and a layer of curry paste, and then another vacuum seal bag and a layer of curry paste. And this repeats itself like 18 times, right? And when they finally get through all the layers of vacuum seal and curry paste, there's like fucking 20,000 fentanyl pills in it that weren't theirs. And so she literally she's like, oh my God, is that what I think it is? He's like, I think it's what you think it is. And she's like, I'm gonna call the cops. And he's like, no, just flush it. We don't need the cops coming here. She's like, whoa, I'm an environmentalist. I'm not poisoning the entire water supply, flushing this much fentanyl down the toilet. We're gonna call the cops. And he's like, are you sure we're not gonna get in trouble? She's like, 1, who rats on themselves? And 2, I'm a middle-aged white woman. I'm not getting in any fucking trouble for this. So the cops come and they validate it, and it turns out it was like the biggest drug seizure or the second biggest drug seizure in Montana in the last decade or whatever. But they looked into it, and what happened was the car was originally in California, and it was seized as part of a drug seizure, and then it went to a police auction where it was bought by the sister dealership of the dealership that she bought it from. And it turns out that they just didn't find that shit because once a dog hits on fentanyl, they don't run it through the car again because they don't have Narcan for dogs. So they literally just didn't find all of it. So since she has a good sense of humor, she now, she said that she's like, so do other cops know about me? And they're like, every cop in the state of Montana now knows who you are. Like, don't worry about it. If you get pulled over and anybody hits on it, here's 35 get out of jail free cards, one from every different plainclothes officer that showed up at her fucking house. And so she has a vanity plate now on the Jeep that says, because it was 7 pounds of fentanyl, it says Mule 7.
Oh my god.
Yeah. That one's so fucking good. Usually it's just my stories, but I had to tell that one. It was fucking pretty good.
That's good.
Let's see. Yeah, so I used to think it was really funny to put a box in the road, fill it with fucking bricks. All right, well, I still think it's fucking funny. There's no joke there. It's just hilarious. So I've been trying to I turned 40, so I'm having a little bit of a midlife crisis. So I've been trying to live dangerously lately, So I've been skiing really straight and driving really fast. And I even bought some fucking groceries the other day at Family Dollar. Yeah, that's right. I don't understand the dynamic of that fucking store. Every time I go in there, the person behind the register is just sitting there scrolling on their phone like they have nothing to do and not a care in the world. And I know that not everywhere is a kitchen where if you've got time to lean, you've got time to clean. But they need to think of some sort of rhyme that's if you have time to scroll on your phone for 2 hours, you've got time to get all the trash off the fucking floor all over the store. I don't know, it's a work in progress, but they could roll with something like that. But I literally went in the other day to get cold medicine, and I had to it beeped that I had to show my ID. And literally the girl behind the counter, instead of just asking me for my ID, she's like, ugh, I'm really sorry about that, dude. They just asked for your ID because they think you're gonna make meth out of it. And I was just I really thought I could get through one fucking trip to Family Dollar without the mention of crystal meth. But touche, Family Dollar, you fucking win again. Literally, there's this new guy there, and every time I go in, he asks me how I'm doing, and I'm like, no, I'm doing great, how are you? And he just goes, oh man, just blessed, man, blessed. And the last time I was in there, I'm like, is this dude blessed by fucking heroin or crack? I can't tell. And then again, he checks me out on the way out. He's like, all right, man, have a blessed day. I'm like, probably not as blessed as yours, bro. Wish I was that fucking, no, if I was that blessed, I'd be back in rehab. All right, so this one time I'm skiing at Copper, and the preface to this story, I've told previously, last week, about a bunch of ski patrol encounters, but to preface this one, this is the only one that ever occurred wearing the steeziest garment that I own, which happened to be knitted for me by my mom. So my mom used to be really into knitting before my dad died, and one day she's like, Michael, could I make you a garment? And I'm like, sure, Mom. And she goes, what do you want? And I'm like, could you make me a full zip tall hoodie for skiing? And she's like, she doesn't even know what the fuck that is, but I have her make it. And so she said the scariest part, because it comes down to below my knees, was that she knitted this tube for 110 hours of old lady labor while she was watching TV. And then the way you do it is you knit the tube and then you stitch the zipper into it. And then after you stitch the zipper, you unzip it and you cut it down the middle. And she said that part was very intense. And as intense as it gets for knitting, okay? But yeah, so I got this full zip Steez sweater, and it comes down below my knees, and every time I'm wearing it skiing, like some bro will be like, "Bro, where'd you get that?" And I'm like, "Yeah, my mom knitted it for me," of course. And then they'll be like, "Well, can she knit me one?" And I'm like, "No, motherfucker, you can't have one." Like, first of all, like, it's got $700 worth of baby alpaca yarn in it, and like 130 mom hours in it. Like, this thing is like the most valuable garment I fucking own. Like, if you count my mom's labor, you know? So anyway, it turns some heads, but I'm wearing this fucking thing, and it's like the second to last day of the season in Copper. It's after USASA is done. And me and my boy Eric are just like eating Adderalls and drinking schnapps, having the best time. And we're riding up the lift, and we see the border cross course left over from USASA. And he goes, "Dude, that looks sick. I want to race down it." And I'm like, "Me too. Let's fucking race down it." So yeah, I guess that part wasn't like super necessary to emphasize. So we get down there, and it's roped off, right? Because it's closed and the competition's over. So we just ski under the rope, and we ski it anyway, and we race down it. And I think I win, if I recall. But, you know, just like shoulder to shoulder, getting air out the jumps. And they never build like a snake run or a border cross course like Copper that's like really as fun as that one was, because it was for a competition. So like we were like really racing and like getting big air next to each other. It was super fun. And so we get to the bottom, and I'm in the Eagle Maze, and I just hear someone say, "Hey boys, how was the border cross course?" And without turning around to look, or as I turn around to look, I'm just like, "Sick as fuck, bro!" And it's fucking Ski Patrol. And he says to me, "Can I see your pass?" And like at this point, like I said, I'm well served, and like Eric is the voice of reason. But I literally, as I hand him my pass, I say, "Is this actually going to be a thing?" And yeah, he indicated it was going to be a thing. And he's like, "Well, you know, it's closed." And I'm like, "Yeah, but nothing happened." And he ended up letting us go. And he was like, "I could take your pass." And I'm like, "Oh, well, it's the second to last day of the ski season. I'm not skiing tomorrow, and I was going to take one more run. So if you'd like to rob me of that one run, I suppose you can win Boner of the Year award." And Eric's like trying to be like, "Don't call Ski Patrol a boner. He's being cool." And I'm just like, "Boner of the Year award, Ski Patrol." And so when we were riding up the fucking lift, though, to his credit, I did see like 8 gapers going under the rope and skiing the border cross course. So I guess like they didn't want me doing it for a reason. But yeah, it just like the combination of like the super like long sweater and just like, "How was it, boys?" Like, sick as fuck. Anyway, that sticks out in my mind as like my favorite Ski Patrol encounter. I forgot to mention when I was telling Ski Patrol encounters last week. Let's see here. So, oh yeah, I got this deal on steaks at Safeway the other day. It was bananas. That's what I rang them up as. It made them very affordable. Yeah, okay. So I used to roll with dice, like pretty heavy everywhere I went, because I worked front desk. And so, yeah, that probably doesn't seem like a strong correlation. But anyway, I like to play fucking CeeLo. And so like at East Village and Copper Mountain, I could like roll into the ski shop, and they'd be like, "Hey man, you got dice?" I'm like, "Of course I fucking do. Do you have dice money?" And they're like, "Yeah." And so we'd like start up a dice game, like in the ski shop in a pizza box. So if people came in to get like fit for skis, we just like close that shit really quick. But I ended up playing the most of the dice I played with the building manager at the building my office was in. And I had to work front desk till like 8 every night. So like we would just be in there. We built this box, and it had a flashlight in the top so we could read what the number was on the dice. And we could just have a full-on dice game in the office, and when people came to check in, we could just like kind of slide it to the side so they wouldn't know that we were just like rolling bones. And it was great because I had like a 45-degree angle cut off the front of it, so you could kind of see inside and like roll and shit. But then when I put it away at the end of the night, I just put it like on the bottom shelf facing away from the trail maps and shit, so it just looked like another box of maps, and it just like hid there in the office. And every night, like 5 o'clock, the boss would leave, and I would just like, first thing I would do is open a beer, and then the second thing I would do is like call up the building manager. I'm like, all right, motherfucker, you ready to roll bones? And we would just play CeeLo, and yeah, it was real fun. I actually still have 3 dice in my golf bag, but I need to get back into it. I got a bunch of $1 bills at home. Maybe next week we'll fucking play some CeeLo in here, since no one's gonna sign up for open mic. Hopefully someone will. All right, let's see here. George Burns goes on the Oprah Winfrey Show. And after the show, they're sitting around eating cookies and cakes and shit in the green room like they tend to do after the Oprah show. And she goes, George, that was a great show, but I gotta ask, how come the topic of conversation with you always comes around to sex? And he says, Oprah, I'm a 75-year-old man, but I swear I could give you 3 orgasms in one night. She kind of laughs it off, but, you know, they end up back at Oprah's place, and so they get started, and she's just like, George, ooh, George, ooh, George, George, ooh. And she's like, George, that was amazing, but that was only one. And he goes, Oprah, I'm a 75-year-old man. I gotta take a 10-minute nap. But while I'm sleeping, you gotta keep both your hands on my dick. So she does, and he wakes up, he's giving it to her even harder. She's just like, "Krah! Wah! 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 Nya! Nya! Krah! Krah! Kwa! 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 Krah! Ya! Ya! Ooh. George, that was amazing. But that was only 2. And he says, Oprah, I'm a 75-year-old man. I gotta take a 15-minute nap this time. But while I'm sleeping, you gotta keep both your hands on my dick. And so she does, and he wakes up and he's giving it to her even harder. It's just like, you know, George, that was amazing. You are a man of your word. But I gotta ask you, while you were sleeping, why'd I have to keep both my hands on your dick? And he goes, well, Oprah, the last time I fucked a liberal, she stole my wallet.
Very good.
All right, the next bit is called peeing on people. So once upon a time, let me make sure I'm recording this shit, am I? Oh, fuck yeah. All right, so once upon a time, there was this girl that I had a crush on, and she wasn't very interested in me in high school, but like we all hung out in the same circle of friends. And so I came up with the idea one day that somehow if I could get her to drink my pee, that I would somehow like have some sort of ownership over her. That is some 12th grade twice logic for you. That's right, I have 24 years of education. I took 12th grade twice. But anyway, so I'm trying to get Rachel to drink my pee, so I peed in this purple Gatorade and left some Gatorade in the bottom of it, so it's still purple. But my friend had this old school first generation Corolla, and it was called the fucking Almo. And so one of the features of the Almo was it would squirt sideways out of the windshield wiper squirters when you pressed it, like onto the side of the road. So unbeknownst to me, what had happened is when I went home for the day and left my bottle of pee there, they poured it in the wiper fluid reservoir of the Almo, and they started driving around hosing people with it. I guess during this drive, they saw the entire cross-country team for my high school running down the side of the road. So they gave them the absolute business with the Almo's windshield wiper squirters full of my pee, and then they turned around, switched it, and got them going the other way. And so when I showed up the next day at my boy Andy's house to smoke cigarettes, he said, damn, Ham, you peed on like 45 fucking people yesterday. And I inquired how, and he told me the story. And I'm like, yeah, but you get people with the Almo's windshield wipers all the time. How are you sure they didn't just think it was wiper fluid, and it, you know, how do you know they know it was pee? And he's like, you weren't there. You didn't see their faces. They fucking knew. All right, let's see here.
I do remember of spray bottles.
That's almost all of it. So we're gonna end with a favorite of mine. A man walks into a talent agency, and he's got his family with him. So it's mom, dad, brother, sister, grandma, and their little dog. And the talent agent says, "We don't do family acts." And they said, "Please, sir, just take a look at what we have. I think you'll really like it." And he says, "Well, what the fuck? I'm a man of the people. Let's see what you got." So they turn on the music box, and it's like the big top circus music, like dun 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 dun. And immediately the husband just reaches over and punches the wife right in the face and knocks out all her teeth. And so everybody's kind of like looking around in shock, and he has this big muscular arm like fucking Popeye with the big forearms like a sailor, and he's like fisting her throat, and the kids are crying. And so then the grandma, she gets startled and takes a shit in the middle of the stage, which the dog starts eating, but the dog throws up the grandma's shit in the middle of the stage. And they're just like, kind of like, it makes a mess, and they're all ice skating around in the fucking shit and puke from the dog. And then the husband dislodges his fist from the wife's mouth, from her throat, and immediately bends over his son and starts fucking him in the ass while he tongues his sister's asshole. And they all take a bow. Let's just cut it off there. I think that was on a fucking roll. And the talent agent goes, "Holy fucking shit, that's a hell of an act. What do you call it?" And they go, "Adult Ski School." Thank you, Manhattan. Good night.
And there he is, Mike Ham. Open mic continues. Anybody got an act? Let us know. We want to get you up here.